33 is. That's where my water and my foam are. The foam tank is the back one right here. So I'm right in there, 500 gallons of, so I can use 4 tanks of water to 1 tank of foam. Okay. Yes,
Please go ahead and ask Brian, but they're going to have to get going in a few minutes. They've got a medical call coming in for a while. But we may actually hear the announcement for a while.
Where your exits are. Okay, every airplane is slightly different. So even if you fly the same route to Montreal every Monday morning, just keep an eye out. And it also makes the flight attendant feel good if you're actually looking at what they're doing. Okay. So we got an entire airfield out here, 5 runways, which means 10 different ways to depart and arrive. We're gonna have a problem. We have a huge environmental program, so Brian, with the firefighter, was talking about having to go down into the confined space. We've got some underground tanks, we've got above-ground ponds, that's our air quality monitoring station back there. The largest tanks we have, there's 4 of them that are the equivalent, they can hold the equivalent of 33 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So anything that runs off from the airport during a snowstorm or rain, we capture that before it gets cleaned up, and then we'll send it out to the green. Now, coming up here is where we're going to probably go through the security check in a moment. Okay, that's a good idea. So we'll do that, and then we'll get close to, looks like we've got a Boeing 787 Dreamliner off the door running. So, a little bit of airplane traffic out here that we might.
Probably go to somewhere like New York, LaGuardia, 70 passengers, 50 passengers, something like that. Pilots do not work for American Airlines. The flight attendant does not work for American Airlines. They work for a company operating the flight for them called Envoy. Could be Ongoing, could be Republic. I think it's Envoy. So they hire several companies and then they take their logo off. I know you're excited for the economy, I'm going to take that one. But if it's in business class, it's definitely different. Well, they have that sort of in the front, but I like that. It's only 2 or 3 seating.
Did not have anything on the wings, so they added them on some of the older ones, but they built them into it on the newer ones. That Boeing 767 took off with winglets on it. They never had them. They had to buy those as a retrofit later on again to make them more efficient. So we're going to continue ahead and aircraft. WestJet uses their own employees for checking in the passengers, the flight attendants, the pilots. They're called above the wing staff, but the below the wing functions are all farmed out to contract employees or contract companies. Now look back on that Dreamliner. Look at the shape of that wing again. That's what I was talking about, how it's curved. So that's a new dynamic idea. Instead of attaching things on the wings or building it into the shape of the wing, they just curve 165 buildings on our property. So it's all a revenue source for us. When you do go to see your relatives off and you want to have a drink with them, pre-security, you can park in the parking garage. We are the largest commercial parking operator in the country. So we make good revenue that way. So all those planes are parked because they're not flying for a while. This one here is on its way to Rochester, New York, or Syracuse. Those exciting places people want to go on a Saturday morning. But what it really is they're connecting up passengers from those destinations to other parts of the world. So 35% of the passengers at this airport are actually having nothing to do with Toronto. They're simply connecting through here. But again, it's good for the jobs. We found out recently that of the 5 daily flights to LA, there are 300 people who board a flight in Los Angeles to go to Europe through Toronto. Has nothing to do with Toronto, nothing to do with Canada, except that they're using Air Canada services. So there's a little Airbus 319, one door over the wing. This is the Boeing 767 with the retrofitted winglets, which you'll start seeing more and more of because it makes sense for them because they've kept an old plane, they put new or refurbished the engines, refurbished the interior, might as well invest in it. And then you've got one of the largest regular passenger aircraft here.
Right,
okay, so we're just watching all the stuff. Oh no, it's outbound. It's outbound, isn't it? Yeah, sorry. Okay. So, see that aircraft there? Sorry, that's what I love about Ford. Every one is different. So Egypt Air is loading up. The baggage has been sorted. In this case, it's an empty container. I'm not sure why they do that. It could be for weight and balance, but when their passengers are checked in, the bags get sent down to the bag room and get sorted. And what might happen is one of the containers will be all the bags going to Cairo for business class. And then when they get to Cairo, that's the first container to come off, deliver those bags so the passengers who were in business class get their bags first. That could be the process. And then you pull them to go to Dubai. Okay? So picture that in your car. All right. So in this case, it's a live apron. There is stuff going on. So all we can do is let you off this red line on the right-hand side. Don't go past the red line. There's a line behind us and a line in front of us. So just here for 5 hours on the ground on 5 days a week, and if it came in the afternoon, we would make them tow it away. After an hour, when you offload the passengers and baggage, tow it away, service it, groom it, get it ready for its next flight, then bring it back an hour and a half before departure. You can load the fuel, the catering, or whatever. But in the mornings, it's not so bad. Now you see Canada Customs is here, CBSA, Canada Border Services Agency. So they were doing an inspection of some sort. Spot check. You've got the bridge attached on the upper and the lower deck. So these are our bridges, our cables and hoses that the airlines use. We're trying to save them using what's called an auxiliary power unit, which is the tail in the engine, or an engine in the tail of the aircraft. If they use that, they're using fuel, so it's better to try and hook up the building. Here they got the fuel truck hooked up, getting ready to load that 100,000 in there. You got 3 different catering trucks hooked up here. Now, the company they've hired, CLS, is one of 2 caterers we have on site. So they way at the far end of the airport, we have Federal Express cargo offices or facility. They have 2,000 employees working there. Again, we lease it out to them, and then they've done the fit up for the interior. As we're driving along this roadway here, this is the baggage roadway. I don't know what this one is for. This plane coming in. Oh, here it is. Yep, there we go. This is the one we saw. Okay. So we can't obviously get off or open the doors here, but what you see is the marshaller, the wing walker out there, the gentleman standing out with his arms like that. This is the marshaller coming, signaling to the aircraft to follow the yellow line. The yellow line is exact positioning, and then where those chocks are sitting out on the side of the lines, those are ready to put into the behind the wheels of the aircraft. The marshaller is going to stop the wheels of the aircraft at that exact point on the apron. And that means that the bridge will fit exactly in the right spot. The signal he's going to give will tell the pilot when to stop. It's a very tough job because you've got to be exactly right. There you go. Okay, so the gentleman now by the wheels is going to put the chocks in place to stop the wheel. To stop the aircraft from rolling. The pilot's shutting down the engines. Any vehicles driving behind will now see the lights go off and they'll be able to drive. Again, look at the shape of those wingtips. So these pilots are happy. They're making a lot of money. They're getting to see the world. And it's not really bad. It's the ambulance. And I didn't see our fire truck there. They might have another call, but usually the fire guys are there as well. Unless it's downgraded and it's just whatever it is. I don't know what it was. They'd known for 45 minutes, so whatever it wasn't, they didn't have to divert to Ottawa, so obviously it was fine. All right, we'll keep going.
How long does the engine?
Every day, plus all the contract staff that are doing the work. So there's a lot of investment made and a lot of planning and timing. And then those 100,000 noise complaints came along, you know, because they didn't like planes flying over their house. So I don't know what to do with that, you know. Probably at least 90 or 100 of them are connecting to somewhere. And so the goal is get them into the customs hall as fast as possible. So we try and work with Canada Customs to make sure they're going to have the right staff in place. And then the process for the people who are connecting to the U.S., we don't want them to have to pick up their bags and line up again. So we've built some new systems in place, but we have to get approval from Canada Customs and U.S. Customs to clear that. It's all legislated stuff. So once they agree to the concept, they still have to get their own legal changes made. Now, how many of you remember the old Terminal 1, the round building with 9 stories of parking? That was right here on our left. This black area is where it sat. So we tore the gates off on the circular building and bussed everybody from the terminal over to the infield terminal on the far side of the field. And people didn't like that because in Canada people don't let taking buses to get off the airplane. Now behind us, that is one of the new MAX 8s. Then you've got a Boeing 737 there. Here's the little Embraer. What else? We have another little Embraer. Airbus 321 up ahead of us. So when we get up close, I'd like to point out that MAX 8, that's the newest Boeing that Air Canada's bought. And look at the shape of those winglets again. We'll get a better view of one in a minute. But these winglets, every one of them is a different shape now, and this is just the style that the aircraft manufacturers are coming up with. So Embraer is from Brazil, Boeing is from Seattle, Washington, Airbus from France. This Airbus would also be from France. And around the corner we've got one of the new MAX 8s. So we'll drive along, it'll be on your right-hand side. Really cool shape on the winglets as opposed to these. I'm just waiting for somebody to damage one. I'll just drive into them, they're so obvious. So our job is to mark the roads up. Mark is following the roads based on his license. But we mark the pavings. All those yellow lines mean something to the pilots. All the white lines mean something to the drivers. And then we also make sure that everyone's following the right processes everywhere, and our safety officers are keeping an eye on everybody driving safely. So here, the new MAX 8 aircraft has the similar engine to the Dreamliner, but again, look at those winglets, how different they are. And we're not going to get off here, but we can open the doors and let you take some photos. Stay on the bus. Upgrading it to expand the capacity there. Now we've got some great retail outlets. We really love people spending their money here because that's how we're going to pay down that debt that I mentioned. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through a tunnel that will take us to the other side of the airfield. And then I'll talk about Terminal 3 from a distance. The tunnel was built because there are 3 taxiways on a runway here, and every time we wanted to get to the other side, you had to cross all of those. So rather than talking to ground control 4 or 5 times, we just take this tunnel. And interesting, off to the side there, to the left of the WestJet hangar, this de-icing area I was talking about, those planes that are there are not waiting to be de-iced, obviously. So we just finished the Toronto International Film Festival, right? It's coming. So right now, most of the aircraft pointing that way are probably movie stars in their private jets. And then the ones that came in earlier or are here for Bombardier doing some maintenance work get pulled off to the side, and then there should be a 5 stops or something like that. So as we're driving this roadway here, the only other people from the public who would normally see this would be people who are going to operate on a flight out of Terminal 3 in the summer. Today's the last day for this operation. We opened up our infield terminal. So there are 6 wide-body gates that are used to park aircraft when Terminal 3 is full. So what we did for the summer was we negotiated with 7 of the airlines that only have 1 or 2 flights a day and said, we're going to move you to this infield terminal, and that'll guarantee that you're not going to be waiting for gates. Otherwise, you might have to sit and wait for half an hour because your gate's occupied by a flight that just isn't ready to go yet. We schedule it so that there's spacing between the flights, but then something goes wrong. Or you arrive an hour earlier, so 3 sectors. So you're either arriving into customs or arriving domestically. And for departure, you're departing separately in domestic or international, so you can get to the duty-free, or you pre-clear U.S. customs. And in both Canada Customs and U.S. Customs, whatever facilities they need, they tell us. They don't pay for it, we pay for it. So it comes out for customs. Oh, we do have a Primera Air. That's a good one. Okay, so this would have gone out last night. Might have gone mechanical or something. So this is our newest airline. This just started flying here in July. And this is an Airbus 321, brand new airplane. This airline's from Scandinavia. They're coming in here twice a day in the summer, trying to compete with all the other airlines to Europe. So So they're going to go to Stansted in London, and next summer they're going to do Madrid and Paris. So of course Rouge is not happy, Air Transat's not happy, British Airways and Air France aren't happy, but Premier is saying, hey, we'll give it a try. They're considered a low-cost carrier, and so I don't know how comfortable the seats are, to be honest, but this is a brand new airplane. They just got them from the factory a few months ago, so actually that's a bit of a bonus for us today. So again, the winglets are built in a different style. It's a Neo, it's a brand new aircraft engine, so this is very, very quiet aircraft. So, you know what, you wanted to move or something? So we'll let you off here. Just don't go past the yellow line there, please.
Now, this
Then their planes the next morning won't be in position, they'll be stuck in Hamilton. And then all the passengers say, I'm never flying that airline again, or it's Pearson's fault, or something like that. So we have to balance the need. We're allowed to move about 16,000 aircraft per year in the midnight hours by the federal government's legislation to us. And so what we do is our best to accommodate the most prime flights. So the bigger aircraft, the quieter aircraft, the most impact economically, but also the most impact to the passenger. So if we say no to Sunwing every night, they're going to go out of business. If we say no to Air Transat, they're working on the same business model. But if we say no to Cathay Pacific, they've got 450 people going to Hong Kong that Cathay would say, you keep saying no to us, we're going to pull out of Toronto. So now our 2 daily flights to Hong Kong won't happen. And there's a huge impact that way. So this aircraft's going to come marshaled in on the gate on the corner here, which will be quite fascinating to watch. The ground crew doing their thing. In this case, KLM's using Swissport as their ground handler. We cannot get out or open the doors, obviously. I think he wants to... He's a little nervous with us being too close. To see all the staff getting involved and guarantee that those people are ready to unbuckle their seatbelts right now. So this aircraft was delivered to KLM in November of 1991. And they were the only operator of the flight. But they have painted it, actually they have not painted it in the new colors. There's a slight variation on the colors. Asia, the Middle East, wherever they can. And they're not partners in any way, shape, or form. KLM belongs to a group called the Sky Team. Cathay Pacific belongs to a competing group called One World. Etihad doesn't belong to anybody. They're a standalone airline. WestJet is a standalone, but it's created a lot of partnerships. In this case, what you see is a Q400 there off the gate. Looks like he's waiting for his marshalling crew to bring it in. And the construction that we drove through that's here on our right-hand side, this is more of the stuff that we're responsible for. So they're working around the clock to try and get this done because the huge impact. That KLM had to come all the way down here and back in like this. And we really don't want to have to make it taxi too far. It's all fuel. We're trying to save fuel. Pretty impressive though. That conveyor that he's just putting Mr. Smith's bag number 148725993 is in container 840729. Pull that container off, pull the bag out, the flight can go safely like that. So that's sort of an answer to your question, okay? And then gradually we'd like to get the data more, not just because mostly because it helps us control what's happening with the airport. The airlines want to understand how their delivery times are working out. And if we can capture that data and give it back to them, I suppose in the long run we could say, airline A, you're really bad compared to airline B, and you're causing airline B to be delayed because you're slow at delivering bags. And that may be the way we use it, I'm not sure. Anyways, thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you to Good Luck for keeping an eye on us. And of course, for Mark driving us around everywhere. Close to all of your We'll get you back here to your cars and enjoy the rest of your summer, because the summer is not going away and I love it. Thank you. Thank you.
Good idea. Yeah, that can be the